cool. It's called AI Chatbot.
Come here, work on a real bot.
End product of the chat that we're creating, okay, and a chatbot. So you're basically gonna have a chat like this that is using GPT 3.5 model. It's gonna be using all the information and only the information from the website that you provide. In order for this chat to work, it has to process the information first, okay? Instead of paying for some already baked in product where you could not change much,
no changes can be made.
here you could actually fine tune it to the needs of your business or your particular task.
So what's the answer?
So the way all these chat models work, it's actually fairly simple. First of all, this chatbot sends this information to OpenAI, okay? But not regular OpenAI, it's Embedder. So what it means, so it'll basically take your question and convert it to the code, right? 010001. It basically it'll create to a vector. It's basically a digital representation of semantic meaning of what the hell you're asking. All right. So it will create the vector. The second request is going to go to a database, okay? A database, but not a regular database, a vector database. So a vector database is a database that basically holds this type of information. It basically calls information of vectors, and then what does vectors represent, right? Information. So imagine I was talking about website. How these things work is basically the website will get embedded and then saved into this database, into this database, okay? And then this information about the website will be queried, right? Will be queried from, it will provide that information to OpenAI, okay? OpenAI GPT-3, right? 3.5 or 4, whatever you want. So basically it'll provide that information here. It will provide that question to the OpenAI model, and it will provide the reference because, GPT doesn't know anything about your website or your PDF you're trying to get information from or learn more about, right? So the way it's going to work is basically you're just going to understand the semantics of the question. It will go through the database, the vector, and then once it goes through the vector, it will just go here, okay? It will just go here, and here it will basically re-ask the question, and then we'll provide the information from the database if it finds anything in the database. And then from that and all of that information combined, OpenAI will respond back to the chat. And then now you could actually ask follow-up questions. So basically this is kind of like a cycle that will take place every time you have interaction, but it's fairly seamless. And even though it's a little bit complicated here, it's actually fairly seamless once you get there. Without further ado, all right, it's time.
Let's go!
How can we create a chat? All right, so that's why Flowise, right? It already takes care of it. All right, so basically here you have the code you could embed in your website, or it could be JavaScript code or Python. And the thing is, the cool part of it is if you understand a little bit of JavaScript, you could understand how to customize it. So basically when you will be configuring that information, this code into your website, you could change stuff to make it more yours. For instance, like change the colors, the fonts, make it a little prettier, so it actually meets the theme of your website better. All right, so this is it. Then if you have a Python application, this is Python code, JavaScript, or curl request, okay? And this is another thing. It basically says like you could have a no authorization version. You could actually have some sort of a key, just like we have an API key for OpenAI or for database, any kind of database, where they don't actually have to write a password. API, like this key number, API key is the password. You could actually create the same thing for your chat, so nobody else could use your chat for the nefarious reasons, because, internet. Anyhow, without further ado, let's see. All right, so let's look at this model now, right? Okay, so here what we have is, let's start with first, right? First, we need to, when we send a request from chat, well, we cannot even start anywhere because What is this Flowise? Flowise is an application. All right. How can we run this application? Where can we run it? So this application can be run on the server. So basically we need a server. Get yourself a server. That's pretty easy. All right. So you just, ideally you want to sign up for this. I already signed up for this. It's a GitHub. Okay. GitHub is basically where you store your code. All right. So once you come here, and again, all the links are in the description below. What you would want to do is come here. All right. Flowise. All right. Oh, okay. So what you'll need to do is just fork it. Okay. Fork your own copy of Flowise, create a new fork. All right. So you basically create a fork. I already created a fork. That's why it says Chatbot Flowise, but you could call it anything as long as it's in there and it's connected to your render profile and you using GitHub. It's, using GitHub, so it automatically sees what kind of repositories you have there, whatever you're going to call your fork. You say connect, and here you say now your web service, let's call it Chat GPT my website, right? Something like this. Oregon, US, repository we use for this in main, root directory optional, and we're going to be running on Node, all right? And there's going to be yarn build, so all is good stuff. Advanced information. Let's see, health check, auto deploy, include path. All right, so this is pretty much it. All right, so here you go. You create a new website, web service. That's pretty simple. So the last thing I did, is I created a .env file. So what are the .env files? .env files is files where you keep your information.
I'm not telling.
Okay. So you could actually create your own .env file in order for you to make sure that nobody else could actually access your Flowise. So if you look at my deployment, you could easily see that this whole thing is running on render. Okay, so this see on render, Flowise chat doc on render, log out. So if you don't establish .env file, it's just going to be an open Flowise AI, so people could come in and mess with your access, because everyone basically will have admin access. You don't want to have that, right? So when you are creating, after you created your fork, here you go. Okay, so after you created your fork, what you're gonna do, you will create. See, so it says like Docker, setup, yarn install. So we did this, so that basically in render we're doing this. We're going to a repository folder, we do installation of dependencies, building, and then here you go. So in order for you, okay, to enable app level authentication, add Flowise username and Flowise password to the .env file in packages server, okay? So let's look at this. So it's packages server, okay? You'll go over here and under .env, but not in your GitHub. Yeah, so .env example, all right? So this is your, you see it, right? So that's basically what you're gonna have once you are ready to deploy it, okay? So let's go to render, all right? So in your environment, all right, so it takes about 5-6, it takes about, it depends on, I think it depends on how busy the servers are, 3 to 5 minutes to get it running. It's free, but I'm paying $7 a month for like the starter pack, and I think that should be more than enough for all your projects. But the thing is you can only run one instance. So for instance, I have in my dashboard, right, I have one deploy in progress and Flowise chat doc already deployed. It's not $7 for the whole thing. All right, for every separate deployment or separate app that I'm running on the server, I have to basically pay for that. All right, so basically that's how we deploy it. Once it's deployed, it'll give you'll say like, oh, you deploy live, and it'll give you this URL. You go here. Once you got here, you basically say add new. All right, and this is actually fairly simple. You will go and you could build it from bottom up, but that's not a very good idea because it's not that simple, especially when you're just starting. So what you want to do is get one of these conversational retrieval QA chain marketplaces. It does sound scary, like you have to pay for it, but they're actually free. It's more of just like templates, okay? These are just templates on how to put all these different APIs together to actually get something useful out of them. All right, so here you go. We'll put this and let's go one by one and explain you what we need here, okay? So this is the template I'm using. The only change here is that I basically get rid of this text file and I use a scraper, a website scraper module instead of this, and recursive character text splitter. And remember in the explanation, I was saying like how the information first have to be embedded in a database, right? Database will have the information for your PDF, your website, whatever. So this is exactly how it works. In order for a vector to basically create a representation, it needs to understand how much of the information has to be in that vector. So here, yeah, so you're basically creating chunks of information and basically at what point you're splitting them. It all depends on your particular use case. All right, so sometimes you might need to have a bigger chunks, sometimes slower chunks, but overall 1,000 is pretty good. Chunk overlap is basically a situation where it will ask you to, chunk overlap is basically how much they have to overlap each other. So for instance, a chunk A was number one chunk, right? So for instance, you send a PDF, 3 pages, assume each page is a separate chunk. And then in order for a chatbot to understand which one is a page 1 and which one's page 2 and which one's page 1 and what is the right order of that information, you want to have that connection, right? So that's why they call it LangChain. So this is like how big is that chain that putting this information together, right? So chunk size is the chunk, basically this glomp of information, and you want to know what is the chunk overlap is. In order for us to move on, let's just basically you press use template, and all right, we're gonna do this. All right, first of all, we're starting with the recursive character. Here you just say overlap. For me, 75 works really good, so nothing wrong here. Next one, again, you could have a text file, for instance, txt. Very few people use txt unless, you know, it's some sort of a particular project or something for work. In our situation, we are using a website, all right? So we come over here and say like, you know what? We need to find document loaders, right? Move me around here. And in document loaders, you have all these possibilities, all right? So you could put PDF file there. You could put a Notion folder. For instance, you are a big Notion guy. You could actually connect your Notion. You could just do that. Or you want to go over the latest stock information. Put everything in one folder. Boom, you're golden. And then you could ask questions, you know, about that information. Anyhow, we're using a Cheerio web scraper. Boom, like this. We connect it here, okay? We tell it the website. For me, for this example, we'll do AI simp.com, right? And open AI key. Okay, well, we'll use that. I will do that magically. Second. So basically you fill in all the keys. See. All right, we're gonna take our open AI key, open AI. You could use GPT-3, it's cool. Anyhow, you could put 35. Wow, that's really cool. Anyhow, yeah, you could use 3.5 turbo. 4 is a little too expensive at this point, so not worth it, especially for a hobby project. You take this, you put here, Pinecone API. Anyhow, so this is your environment, okay? You'll take it here, put it right here. Pinecone index, you check what is the name of your index. My index name is AI simp. And here you go. So we filled out all the information we need, right? The language model and additional parameters. That is actually a key. You want to talk, he's giving you an example. I want you to act as a document here and boom. All right, so we'll see what's gonna happen. So for you to check it, to see what happens, first, let's check out the AI simp, all right? So AI simp is the name of my agency. No, basically we just do work that, basically LLM work. We work with different companies on integrating AI-driven solutions. So this is a no-code way, but next week we'll be working on doing the same thing, but with Next.js and just change this. You don't want to mix the databases, or otherwise the information will be mixed up with another project. All right, AI chat example. Okay, boom. All right. this works for you. And yeah, this is how the cookie crumbles. Once we get this information, we basically take this embed, all right, boom, and we will go to Webflow. So this is Webflow view. So for instance, we want this embed to be here on this page. We want our chatbot be on this page. So what we're gonna do, we'll say page this, come here, and you will put it in the hand, right? So just double check. They say you can specify a version. So basically here you could make a difference, right? You could just work on it. I could just take a shortcode, but you could make all the changes. If you guys wanna know how to do all these changes, I could show you in my special vault. I will show it to you for all the subscribers, okay? So subscribe to this channel, and there I'm releasing the videos basically that show the configs and all this nitty gritty details. All right, cool. So we'll just do this. We'll copy this information and we will say, it says, make sure place this anywhere in the body tag of your HTML file. So here you say, Flowise, Webflow, async, anywhere in the body tag before end of the body tag. So you say save, boom, you say boop, the publish selected, and new incognito. We'll go AI simp, same that, boom. And this is what I was talking about, this thing, all right? This is, hi there, how can I help you? I need help with integrating AI my business, right? Let's see what it says. All right, so not too long ago, they actually integrated, we tried to harness power of AI, we offer custom. All right, so we could go and configure it later, but it actually pretty awesome, okay? How in WordPress, because in previous example it was a Webflow. Here I'm basically going on my WordPress website where I'm just using one of the constructors, like it's Elementor, but it doesn't really matter. All right, cool. So Elementor is another basically builder for WordPress. Anyhow, let's just say boom, 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 activate containers. Oh, that's cool. Let's see. We'll just basically find anything that says code. Let's see, code, general, HTML, cool. I think it's cool. We could use that. Yeah, where is this? Oh, here you go. Poof. And that's it. That is that easy. Wow. Honestly, impressive. WordPress looks really cool. So if you have a WordPress website, yeah, this is basically boom, right? About your business, right? And that's it. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. And this is AI Simp. Like, subscribe, tell me if there's anything else was not clear that I could improve in the next videos. And I hope you guys gonna use it. And yeah, I hope this video inspired you to do something really cool with AI. Let me know if there's anything else you want to learn. All right, peace.